Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Moose Minute Project here on a Thursday morning. And that is right, July 24th of 2025. Partly cloudy, beautiful in southwest Wisconsin. It's going to be a little humid, a little hot, but it's going to be a lot better than it was yesterday. Yesterday's humidity was awful. So, welcome to the Moose Minute Project, titled today, Do You Struggle at Some Point? So the question is do you struggle at some point every day? Do you struggle at some point every other day? Is life difficult for you no matter what? Or do you look at the negatives over the positives? If you have gone through some hard times and through some traumatic events, my guess is that you struggle more times than you want to admit because you are waiting for the next shoe to fall. So, yesterday was a very emotional day for me. I think too that I lose sight of how much I have gone through with the Lyme's disease, the grand mal seizure, and the stroke, and how blessed I am to be where I am. And how much progress was made in the last 8 years due to the fact of still having nerve pain, still feeling cold. It split me exactly in half. So I feel on this side, not so much, I got not nearly the sensitive side as this side. And it literally cut me in half from my toes to the top of my head. So I've learned more and more that if you've gone through traumatic events such as your parents getting divorced or whatever it may be, that you are always struggling at some point, but also that as you mature and you age, you have to rely on the tools that you have inside you. I cannot blame my parents. Now that I'm 51, it's one thing when you're a teenager and you've gone through some horrific stuff and you act up, whatever it may be. But now that as you age and you mature, those excuses have to go away. Those excuses are exactly that. They are excuses for you still being somewhat of a shithead. And I know rough childhood, all that might screw up people. There are plenty of them. There are plenty of parents that I would love to probably put them and whack them in the butt or whatever. A good spanking probably is what they need. Due to the fact of what they put their kids through. I see last night we did the point in time count for Richland County, looking for homeless. And man, there are quite a few actually in Richland County. It's pretty sad and the bad part about that is there are kids involved in a lot of the cases as well. And yep, I guess I look at people that say, well, if you can hold a sign and beg for money, you can have a job. That might be the case. But if you are a business owner and you are a person that has that belief, maybe you should step up then and hire them. See, that's the problem. Yes, they could possibly hold a job. They could, but nobody wants to give them the chance. And quite honestly, they have become wired to survive the way they are. But people in this world now have the aspect of, well, if you can beg for money, you could work too. Yep. Where are they going to work? Who's going to give them the shot? Just because a company has a help wanted sign doesn't mean they are going to hire whoever walks through the door. And if they struggle with anything, a lot of those folks have learning disabilities. And if you're not going to help walk them through things, whether it's cleaning bath or whatever it may be. And that's the thing, is then you're dehumanizing people by offering them jobs of, well, they could shovel shit or clean bathrooms or whatever. Really? Well, it'd be better than the way they're living. Not necessarily. They're probably there due to that they don't trust most people. They've had really shitty things happen to them. And that's why they are where they are. And there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some that if they beg for money and they get cash every day of the week, it all goes unreported. So there are some that I would say use the system, especially when you're out in Vegas, when you see them there, and, you know, there's a guy that, you know, and a lot of times you get people that say, well, she got $5 from me, and then she went around the corner and got into a really nice vehicle. Yep, she might have, but very few are that way. Very few are the ones using the system. They are just trying to survive. And unfortunately, in our world, in our environment, that doesn't work for a lot of people. They don't give them that shot to just work. They have a thing that they have to, you know, there's a lot of people that I know that won't wear deodorant because of the metals or whatever in them. And needless to say, this time of year, it's not overly good. And you can't just all of a sudden, you know, you got to coach people or whatever on hygiene or whatever it may be. And then it's a touchy subject there. So when you make the comment of, well, if they just would walk into a business and get hired, I mean, if they're able to beg for food or beg for money, they can work. Next time, offer them a job. Offer them a good job where they can feel proud of who they are, if that's really who you want to be, and see what's going on. Have you ever just pulled up to somebody and said, hey, you know, I see you're begging. Can you step over here? Can you come over here? And we'll talk a minute and try to figure out why they are where they are, or do you just blow by them and not worry about it and go, geez, another guy begging for stuff? You know, if you go into Madison by the mall, you see 4 corners and 3 of the same people are there all the time. And they're usually there. And the one by Home Depot or down by Menards, that lady always has a cane, and she walks back and forth with her sign. I'm just curious if there's a association or whatever that would interview these people to see why they are where they are and to come to the truth. We all want the truth. We all want transparency. And seeing people beg for food and beg for money in this country, it's happened all the time, forever. I mean, you know, but we all of a sudden label them all. A lot of people label them of, well, Cripes, there's help wanted signs all over. They should just go get a job. I don't think it's that easy. I just don't. I don't think for these folks it's that easy, because it can go back to childhood or whatever it may be. You know, if your parents were, you tend to find this with society. If parents were hoarders and they hoarded a bunch of stuff, you tend to be hoarders. Or you tend to throw out everything. That's usually the option, is you either follow suit and you go, okay, or you lived under that and you go, there ain't no way. I'm throwing everything out, and no, not keeping anything. That's kind of how it works. You're not, well, I'm somewhat like my hoarding family. I keep enough stuff to where it still drives me nuts that we have it, or it's so clean and thrown out that, yeah, it doesn't last long. You know, I hear that all the time. But at some point, our countries we have to get back to care and compassion and trying to figure out what's going on and what's making people tick and how we can help them. You know, I give 100% credit to Jacob here at work, because he gives people those chances. And I have heard over and over again, and I shouldn't say though, it's the people that don't quite fit well into society, because people don't take the time or have the patience to work with him, and he does. And it takes a lot of patience to give people with some learning disability, whatever it may be, it gives them the rough time, and it's hard for them to go through society. But then you hear their backstories, and you then start to learn why they are the way they are. So that was where I wanted to go with today. Just, you know, if you struggle every day, why are you struggling every day? Is it because of stuff choices you're making that you can change? Or is it just because you're saying, well, my parents did it to me, or I did that? Are you making excuses to not succeed, or are you just unhappy overall with life in general? I struggled at the end of the night last night just because I felt like I was not making everything. I was not doing well. I felt like I was screwing up a lot of things. And I didn't screw up anything, really. But it's in my brain, because of all the things that go on with my stroke and stuff. I struggle a lot because of, if I screw up, whether it's mailing an item, or I forget to put a light in a kit, or whatever it may be, I beat myself up so hard. I am very much a perfectionist when it comes to making sure everything is done step by step. And it's a downfall, because I am the one that, unfortunately, I am very blessed to be where I am today, but I don't look at it that way. So I don't look at it that way. I'm hard on myself, and we try to kick it into the next level. So take time to look at what you're kicking yourself for and see if there's a way to improve it. For me, it's following and studying and doing a lot of audio things, listening to work and from work, just ways to make things better. So that's where the Moose Minute Project is today on Thursday morning. I hope you all have a great day. As always, take time to bless somebody today, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for another Moose Minute Project.